spoke of 6 consciousnesses. 1. The I consciousness and the dharmas associated with the I consciousness together take color as object, but are not concerned with houses, cities, and other nominal fictions of all kinds. 2-5. Similarly, the consciousnesses of ear, nose, tongue, and body are concerned with sound, smell, taste and touchable respectively. 6. The mental consciousness and the dharmas associated with the mental consciousness cognize the I color, the I consciousness, and so on up to. They cognize the mind, dharmas, and the mental consciousness. 1. The things that are the object of these consciousnesses are all empty, impersonal, and perish after their arising. They are not independent. Neither can an Atman cannot be attributed to unconditioned dharmas 1, for they experience neither suffering nor happiness. If an Atman were needed in all of that, there must be a 7th consciousness to cognize this Atman. But this is not the case. Therefore we know that there is no Atman. 2. Debate with the personalist. The personalist. How do you know there is no Atman? First argument. Each person in particular conceives the idea of Atman in respect to his own person, and not in respect to that of another. Therefore if he wrongly considers as Atman the non-Atman of his own person, he ought also to wrongly consider as Atman the non-Atman of another. Second argument. If there is no inner Atman, the cognition of colors arises and perishes from moment to moment. How does one distinguish and recognize the color blue, yellow, red or white? Third argument. If there is no Atman, and since the evolving human consciousnesses, constantly arising and ceasing, all disappear with the life of the body, who is bound by the actions, sins or merits? Who endures suffering or happiness? Who is liberated? For all of these reasons, we know that the Atman exists. Answer. Refutation of the first argument. 1. The difficulty is common to us. For if the man conceived the idea of Atman with reference to another person, one must still ask why he does not conceive the idea of Atman in reference to his own person. 2. Furthermore, arising from causes and conditions, the 5 aggregates are empty and are not Atman. But because of ignorance, the 20 kinds of satyadrashti arise. This satyadrashti arises relative to the 5 aggregates. Since it arises from the 5 aggregates, it is these 5 aggregates and not the person of another that is considered to be the Atman, and that is due to the impregnations of ignorance. 3. Furthermore, if there were any Atman whatsoever, the Atman of a third person should exist. But without even knowing if your own Atman exists or not, you are questioning me about the Atman of a third person. It is as if somebody, questioned about the horns of a rabbit, should answer that they are like the horns of a horse. If the horns of a horse really existed, one could resort to them to establish the existence of the horns of a rabbit. But if the horns of a horse are also uncertain, how could one resort to them to establish the horns of a rabbit? 4. Furthermore, it is because the man conceives the idea of Atman in reference to his own person that he himself affirms the existence of the Atman. But you are speaking of a universal Atman which should also be attributed to other people. This is why one cannot say that the fact of conceiving the idea of Atman in reference to one's own person and not in reference to another's person proves the existence of the Atman. 5. Furthermore, there are people in whom the idea of Atman arises in reference to something other than themselves. Thus, heretic contemplatives, practicing the seeing of the totality of earth, see the earth as being the Atman and the Atman as being the earth, and the same also for water, fire, wind, and space. But it is out of error that the idea of Atman is conceived in reference to another. 6. Moreover, there are circumstances where the idea of self is conceived in reference to another. The man whose limbs were replaced by those of a corpse. Thus, a man who had undertaken to go on a long journey spent the night alone in a deserted house. In the middle of the night, a demon, carrying a dead man on his shoulder, was about to set the corpse down in front of him. Then another demon angrily chased the first one, saying, "That dead man belongs to me. Why are you bringing him here?" The first demon replied, "He is my property. It is I who took him and brought him here myself." The second demon continued, "No, it was I who brought that dead man here." Each seizing the corpse by one hand, the two demons argued with each other. The first demon said, "There is a man here and we can ask him." The second demon began to question him. The man thought, "These two demons are very strong. Whether I tell the truth or I lie, my death is certain. In either case, I can't escape. What is the use of lying?" Then he answered that it was the first demon that had brought the corpse. Immediately, very angry, the second demon seized the man by the hand, which he tore off and threw on the ground. But the second demon took an arm of the corpse, which he fitted onto the man by slapping it on. In the same way he substituted the two arms, the two legs, the head and the sides of the corpse. Together, the two demons devoured the man's body, which they had replaced by that of the corpse, and after wiping their mouths, they went away. Then the man thought, "With my own eyes, I saw the demons devour the body which my mother and father gave to me. Now my present body consists completely of another's flesh. Do I really have a body now, or am I only a corpse? If I think I have body, it is entirely another's body. If I think I don't have one, there is, however, a body that is visible." Having had these thoughts, he was very worried and became like a man who has lost his mind. The next morning, he resumed his journey. Having arrived at the kingdom that was his destination, he saw an assembly of monks around a Buddhist stupa, and he asked them whether his body existed or not. The monks asked him, "Who are you?" He answered, "I don't even know if I am a man or not." He told the assembly all that had happened. The Bhiksus said, "This man knows for himself the non-existence of a self. He will easily be liberated." Speaking to him, they said, "From the very beginning until today, your body was always without Atman, and it is not just coming to the present moment that is so. It is simply because the four great elements were combined that you thought, 'This is my body.' There is no difference between your previous body and that of today." The Bhiksus converted him to the path. He cut through his passions and became an arhat. Thus there are circumstances where one conceives the idea of self in reference to another. But under the pretense that there are distinctions between that and this, one cannot say that there is a me. 7. Finally, the true nature of the Atman cannot be established with precision. One cannot establish whether it is eternal or transitory, independent or dependent, active or inactive, substantial or non-substantial, and other.